in the priests, like Thomas Reese, this Jesuit, he doesn't he's 75 years old. He doesn't understand why the young people don't want to go to that groovy mass.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
Well,
if
and
it
I
was
think,
going to be, it was going to be their culture, it would be rap. It would be something not
exactly.
Peter, Paul, and Mary.
That's
They
exactly right.
they can't see it.
That, and I think that's exactly the point, Taylor, because I think that the real issue is that they got stuck in that time frame, and but the irony of it is they think everyone else should be in that time frame or that mindset. When in point in fact, look, this is 2021. Boy, I'm getting dated here. This is 2021. Not 1965. And so, and as a result of that, you're right. That's why I think the young people. There's two things that I think that happened to the young people, which is very important. One is that culture moved beyond the 60s. I mean, we're so far beyond the 60s, it's silly at this stage, especially when you look at some of the stuff that's going on culturally. But these people are at that stage. And so you're right. It would be the rappers, or their music would be just completely different. The second component is that there was no catechesis. So these people are essentially tabula rasas. I mean, they literally know nothing about their faith. And so that itself opens them up to being taught the truth. They don't have the attachment to the baggage of the last 50 years in the church. They just want to know what the truth is. And then when they experience the traditional Latin Mass, which is the beauty of the traditional Latin Mass is it's the perfect intersection between heaven and authentic human nature as governed by the natural law. And so when these young people come into contact with that, if they have any desire to live according to the natural law or to pursue what the truth is, once they see that intersection, they're hooked. They're saying, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. This fulfills what I need as a Catholic. And yeah, and I think that there's a distinction which a lot of the, like Father Reese don't seem to grasp, I don't think, is that there's a difference between getting your emotions fulfilled, right? You can feel emotionally uplifted and things like that, which, the new Mass might do a little bit more than the old if you're looking for emotions. But then there's a deeper fulfillment of that order that your interior life and your interior faculties that God designed you for, pursuit of the truth, the natural inclination, which is part of the natural law, is the part of the third category of natural inclination to worship God in a rightly ordered way. That finds fulfillment internally. And so there's this peace and fulfillment internally. And it's not necessarily an emotional thing. And that's the kids, their whole life have been fed nothing but emotion. And they come across something that doesn't have that. And then they say, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. So I think there's a real lack of understanding of even grasping what liturgy is even about. Liturgy isn't about our emotional fulfillment. In fact, it's kind of funny. My sister, who I love very much, who's a very devout Catholic, she loves a traditional Latin Mass, but she went to the new Mass one time and she came out and she said, I didn't get a thing out of that Mass. And I was being a little facetious at the time, and I just said, well, that's good. And she's like, well, what do you mean? I said, as long as God got what he wants, we're all good, right?
Right.
And I think this is something which is very important. I'm a little reticent to say this, but I think I'm going to say it anyway. When Cardinal Ratzinger came to Wigratzbad, to the Fraternity of St. Peter's, who I'm still incarnated with, even though we're trying to start the Society of Priests, when he came to Wigratzbad and did a solemn high pontifical Mass, after the Mass, this is the report that I was told, after the Mass, he came into the sacristy, and actually the first words out of his mouth after the Mass was, I had forgotten how theocentric the old rite was. And this actually tells you something that, they keep saying the Mass is for the people, the Mass is for the people. Well, yes and no. I mean, obviously there would be no Mass if there was no people. But the fact of the matter is that the end or the focus, the center of the Mass is God, and that we find our fulfillment in him. And not in each other, not in all the social side of it, etc., but it's in him. And I think that is one of the reasons why it is so theocentric. It's a recognition that our fulfillment in the end can only be in him.